Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sally and this is Secret Life of a Seamstress. I hope you're all well and you're having a really good week. So today's video is one that I've wanted to film for quite a while, but I've had to kind of work up the energy to do it. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my entire collection of woven tops. Or woven summer tops I should say, because some of my woven tops are actually packed away in my winter wardrobe, but everything that I have out at the moment that is classed as a woven top handmade by me I'm going to be sharing today. So I absolutely love watching these kinds of videos, one because I'm quite nosy, but also because it's really good for sewing inspiration. I think I love to see what other people have made and I love to see what kind of fabrics they've used and things like that. So I really hope that you'll enjoy this video and that it might give you some sewing inspiration for the future. So as always, if you are new to my channel is all about sewing. I share fabric hauls, sew-alongs, things I've made and things like that, and I sometimes talk about a bit of knitting as well, mainly sewing though. I'd love you to consider subscribing and please don't forget to give the video a like at the end if you've enjoyed it. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, thank you so much for joining me again today. So since this could be a very long video, I'll get straight into my entire collection of woven tops and I'll start with what I'm wearing today. So today I'm wearing a Sew Over It Libby shirt or blouse, and this is a top that I don't actually wear very often, but I do really like when I put it on. So the Libby blouse is a kind of 1940s inspired blouse. If I just get my hair out of the way, hopefully you can see that it has a flat collar, and the back of the collar is actually on a partial stand-up collar stand, I believe. And I made this quite a while ago and it was the first time I'd ever had a go at any kind of collar on any kind of stand. It's not a proper collar stand, so it's not like something like the Tilly and the Buttons Lyra dress or a proper shirt collar or something like that. It's a kind of partially flat collar, but the back does stand up a little bit. I hope that makes sense. I really like this pattern. I think when I made it, I wasn't quite happy with how I'd sewn the collar. I think it looks fine now as it is, but I think when I'd finished making it, I wasn't quite happy with how I'd finished the collar at the back. So it did put me off of wearing this top for a while, but when I do get it out and wear it, I do really like it. One thing I would say about this shirt is that it's very, very cropped. So I'll just stand up. So you can see I've got it kind of half tucked in, but it actually only comes down to there anyway. And I believe this top does actually come in 2 different lengths and I've made the longer length. So if you are taller than me, I'm only 5'3", you might want to be aware of how cropped this blouse does come up. I think even if I make it again, I'll definitely lengthen it slightly because I do struggle a little bit with how to wear it. Of course, I will try and link all the fabrics that I can below this video in case you are interested, but some of these things I did make quite a while ago, so I'm not sure if they'll all be available anymore, but I'll link any fabrics I can below the video as well. The next few things I have to share is my small collection of Sew Over It silk cami tops. I'm sure you've probably all seen this pattern anyway. This is the Sew Over It silk cami, so it's just a basic kind of cami top. The straps on this are quite thick, which I really like, so it's quite easy to wear a bra underneath, and it comes down quite long with a lovely curved hem at the bottom, which is really lovely, and you can wear it out over a pair of skinny jeans or shorts or something, or you can tuck it in as well. And I really love this pattern. It's a really good pattern for beginners. There's a really good blog on the Sew Over It website which helps you with finishing the facing inside and sewing in the straps. This one I made from a cotton lawn fabric, I think this is. It's kind of crinkly actually. I'm not quite sure if it's a cotton lawn or a cotton. I bought this fabric absolutely ages ago and it was probably one of the first things that I actually made when I came back to dressmaking. And I'm pretty sure that I got this fabric from John Lewis, and I think it's by Koka, which is a Japanese fabric designer or fabric company. So yeah, that's one of the first versions I ever made, and you can see if I hold it up like this that it's finished with a facing inside, which just kind of neatens everything and makes everything sit nicely inside. So that's my first version. What I'll do is I'll just, if I can, I'll add in a picture of me wearing the top so that you can see them on rather than trying them all on, because I think that would take me absolutely ages. So I hope that just popping in a couple of pictures here and there will be helpful so that you can see me wearing the garments. This is my next version. It's a similar version. It's in a really drapey kind of viscose or polyester twill fabric, I think this is. It's actually, I think it's more of a polyester actually than a viscose. It's quite kind of shiny. This fabric I brought from the Cambridge Fabric Company, I think, which is just an independent little shop in Cambridge that we popped into once when we were over there. It's a really pretty fabric and I love the colour of this, and it drapes really nicely. So yeah, that's just a lovely kind of basic for the wardrobe, mustard spotty cami top. And this is my favourite and most recent version of the Sew Over It silk cami, and it's made from a really lovely Atelier Brunette viscose crepe, I think this is. It's kind of got a bit of a bubbly texture to it. And this fabric is definitely still around, so I'll be able to link this down below, but it's so lovely to work with. It feels like a proper silk cami, if you know what I mean. It hangs really nicely and it feels really silky. And it was really lovely to work with. So yeah, this is my favourite one. I really, really like this one. And I feel like this one is the one that I've done my best work on, if you know what I mean. I think I've finished the straps really nicely so that they line up nicely, and the facing all sits really nicely inside too. So yeah, 3 of those, the Sew Over It silk cami top. Next, I have a little collection of Ogden camis. So these are all just basic Ogden cami tops. What I do with the Ogden cami, which I've mentioned before, is just to shorten the straps slightly. So I just take in 1 centimetre from each end of the straps, just so that it sits a little bit higher, because I do find that the Ogden cami comes down quite low and I find it a little bit low cut for me. So just making that simple change to the length of the straps just brings it up a little bit so it's not so low cut. So if you find that too, that's a really simple alteration to make. So this is probably my favourite and most worn Ogden cami. It's just made from an ivory crepe viscose fabric, and I just find that it goes with everything and it goes really nicely under cardigans and things like that, and it hangs really nicely. So with this one, because it's ivory and it was see-through, I did fully line this. But I just took the lining to about 1 inch or so shorter than the main top, so that it just kind of hangs slightly above, and then you get a little bit of kind of see-through fabric at the end. And I think that just looks really nice. Next, I just have a really basic black cotton dobby fabric. This one I don't wear quite so often, just because I don't tend to wear black as much as I do white and lighter colours, but this is a really kind of handy one to have in my wardrobe as well, because it just goes really nicely under things. So that's a little cotton dobby version of the Ogden cami, and I made this really early into my sewing journey as well, and it was really good to use this cotton dobby because it was really lovely to work with, so it was a really good practice of making up this pattern. And just another one in a mustard peach skin fabric. I think this was from John Lewis from quite a long time ago. Really nice fabric actually, and I think it suits the Ogden quite well because it hangs really nicely and it feels lovely and silky. I really like the colours in this, the kind of mustard and turquoise and burgundy. It's really pretty, and I like wearing this in the summer just with jeans or shorts or something. And just another version here, this is in like a navy peach skin fabric, and I think again I got this from John Lewis. I think because I made a lot of these early on in my sewing journey, I used to get quite a lot of fabric from John Lewis, and I'm pretty sure I got this from John Lewis as well. It's really lovely and really drapey, and what I've done with this one is to round off the neckline. So if I hold it up, can you see that? So I've literally just taken out the V and I've rounded the neckline at the front and the back, just so that it's a bit more kind of higher up on the chest and it's not so low cut. And I did find that worked really nicely as a little change to make if you're not too keen on that kind of low V-neck shape. So that's my navy version of the Ogden cami. And then of course there's the version that I made really recently, which is the version that I added the little frill cap sleeve to, and I made a pair of sapphire trousers by tilling the buttons so that I can wear them together as a faux jumpsuit. And yeah, I really like this one. So I made the same change again, and I just shortened the little sleeves, and then I just added a frill to the top of the shoulder, and I think that looks really pretty. So yeah, love that version. That's just in a sunflower print viscose from Stoff and Still. Next in the cami tops is my Portofino top by Apolline Patterns. So this pattern was actually fully in French. So I had to translate the pattern using Google Translate, and then Apolline Patterns have a really helpful YouTube channel where there's a lot of sew-alongs and things like that, which are really helpful if you are trying to translate and work out the pattern. So this wasn't too difficult to put together in the end. I made it more difficult for myself because I used a really slippy silky fabric, silky viscose from Stoff and Still, which is really lovely and really suits this top, but it was quite difficult to work with. I absolutely love this pattern. I really love the ruffle around the neckline of the cami, which kind of goes underneath the armholes as well, and I think it's just an absolutely lovely top, and it looks really nice underneath cardigans with jeans, or it looks really nice with shorts in the summer as well. So I really must make another one of these. It's been on my list for ages to make a nice white or a cream one similar to my Ogden cami in that kind of crepey sort of fabric, and I think that would look really nice as well. So yeah, I really want to make this again. I've used self-covered buttons for this one. I was just in the mood to do something a bit more fancy, obviously. But I haven't made buttonholes because obviously this is wide enough to get over your head without doing that. So I didn't bother with any buttonholes or anything. This is fully lined as well. So you literally just kind of bag out each front and the back, and then you sew it together down the middle, so there's no facings or anything. It's all just bagged out as a fully lined top, which is really nice because if you are using quite a see-through fabric, you just get that extra bit of coverage. So that's the Portofino top by Apolline Patterns. So I won't go into too much detail about all of the patterns and how I found them and everything. They'll probably be in previous makes videos, so I'll try and link them down below, or you can pop over and see my previous makes videos where I've talked about these patterns in more detail in the past, rather than going into too much detail today because I think that would make for a very, very long video. So next I have two Darling Ranges blouses to show you. So you'll probably know by now, if you watch my previous videos, how much I love the Darling Ranges dress pattern by Megan Nielsen, because I think it's just so adaptable and so versatile. I've made many of the Darling Ranges dresses, and I've also made two top versions. So this was the first top version that I made. It's just a simple V-neck blouse which buttons down the middle, and it's just such a simple, quick blouse to put together. I think if you like blouses but you're not too keen on doing collars or cuffs or anything like that, this is a really good blouse pattern to try. There are no darts or not really any shaping in it. It's just, it's bias bound around the neckline, if you can see that, and then it comes down into the button band facing here. So it's really nicely put together and very quick to sew up. This fabric was some kind of polyester crepe, I think, again from John Lewis. It feels kind of polyestery, I think. It has got that kind of nice wrinkly, crepey texture to it as well. Another one that I picked up from John Lewis early on in my fabric buying journey. And another Darling Ranges blouse. So this one is slightly hacked. So in this one it has a bit more shaping just because I've used the bodice from the dress to make the blouse. So I have two front darts here. And then I've added a really short peplum skirt to the bottom of the blouse just to give a different kind of feel. And I really, really like this. I was so pleased with this when I made it. I was trying to copy a blouse that I'd seen on the high street, and it turns out pretty much exactly as I was hoping. This is made from a double gauze by Atelier Brunette, and I think this is still available as well, so I'll link it below if you're interested. And then I've just added the short sleeve to this blouse as well. So yeah, really pretty kind of cropped summer peplum blouse that I love wearing with high-waisted jeans and shorts and things. This is probably one of my favourite tops actually that I've ever made. Because it's really soft and lovely to wear, and I just love how the style of it turned out. Yeah, that's a hacked version of the Darling Ranges blouse. Next is a really cropped version of the indigo dress pattern by Tilly and the Buttons. So I wore this in a recent video, which I'll link below if you want to see me wearing it, but this was a dress which I wasn't quite happy with, and I ended up cutting it into a really short peplum style top, and I really like it like this, and I know that I'll get much more wear out of this. Again, this is really good to wear with high-waisted jeans and shorts and things like that, and I just feel like it's kind of much more my style, and I'll wear it much more like this. That's actually a really good option for the indigo pattern, just to crop it and have a really short top. You could obviously make this a bit longer and have like a tunic or something like that, or something that goes past your hips. But I actually really like the indigo pattern as a top, and I'd really like to make another one. I know I say that all the time, never have time for all these makes. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how that turned out as a top. And this was made in a viscose twill from Minerva, and I have written a blog post all about this top, or the dress that it was. And I'll link that down below so you can pop over and see my journey with that dress if you'd like to. Next I have two sagebrush tops by Friday Pattern Company. So I'm sure you've probably all seen the sagebrush top pattern. It's really, really popular. I haven't yet made the proper sleeves of the sagebrush top. For both of my versions I've actually added the sleeve from the Fibre Mood Norma blouse, because I did make these in the autumn, so I wanted a longer sleeve, but obviously they're quite nice for summer wear as well. I'll pop in an image of the Fibre Mood Norma blouse pattern as well, just so that you can see the sleeve that I've taken from that pattern, and I've added it to the normal body of the sagebrush top, but I have shortened the top quite considerably actually, because it does come up quite long. So I've just shortened this to hip length and I've added the frill. And then at the back, this is open, but it does tie up at the back of your neck, which I think is a really pretty finish. It's all bias bound around the neckline, which looks really pretty, I think. So yeah, I really love this version of the sagebrush top. One day I'll probably try the proper sleeves and see how I feel in those. They are quite puffy and I wasn't quite sure how I'd feel in that style. But I do love these Norma blouse sleeves and I think they're perfect for autumn and summer actually. This is made in a viscose crepe, which I picked up from Stoff and Still quite a while ago. And I know that this went out of stock really quickly because I've tried to link it many times and I've never been able to find it. So I think I was really lucky to get that fabric. It's really pretty. And then I just made exactly the same version in a crinkly gingham fabric from Stoff and Still. And I made this around Christmas time. Also it looks really nice with kind of shorts or crop jeans and things like that in the summer because everyone loves gingham, don't they? I really like gingham. I wasn't too sold on the whole gingham thing at first, so I went for a black rather than a red or anything too vibrant at first just to see how I felt in it. And I really, really liked it actually. So you never know, there might be more gingham on the horizon for me. So again, I've just added the Norma blouse sleeves and I've cropped it up to hip length again because it does come up very long. Next is another top that I'm really proud of because this again was a French pattern that I had to translate, but I loved it so much I just had to make it. So this is the Pivowin blouse pattern. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's by Delphine Morissette Patterns and I will link the pattern down below, and I've also written up a blog post on how I found this and how I translated it and everything. So if you are interested in this pattern, I'll link all of that down below. But yeah, I absolutely love how this pattern came together. It's a really, really nice pattern. It has a yoke at the top, which kind of finishes here on both of the fronts and then at the back as well. And then the back is kind of gathered into the yoke, which looks really pretty, I think. And yeah, hopefully you can see that the fronts are kind of gathered into the yokes as well. And then the neckline is just finished with bias binding, which extends down to the button band, which is quite narrow. But yeah, it's quite an easy top to put together really. The sleeves are kind of grown on and then you add this cuff to the bottom of the sleeve. So they're not too difficult to put together at all. And I've made this in an Atelier Brunette gauze, I think this is. I think this is still available. But it's an absolutely lovely fabric to work with, and it's one of those gauzes that kind of the more you wash it, it really kind of crinkles up and it feels softer. I'm sorry for how much I'm saying kind of, by the way. I've noticed in a couple of my videos how much I say kind of, and I don't know why. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, this is one of my favourite makes. I've worn this a few times with shorts and jeans. It looks really nice tucked in with high-waisted things, but of course you can have it out because it has a really pretty curved hem. Hopefully you can see that there. So far I haven't got around to making another version. I'd really like to make a white one actually in a similar fabric to this because I think this fabric does suit this blouse really well and it's really nice for summertime. It's lovely and cool. So that's the Pivowin blouse pattern by Delphine Morissette. Next I've got a little collection of Sew Over It shift tops. So I've made a few of these. I started with this pattern. This was one of the first patterns that I brought when I got back into dressmaking. And I made the dress, but then I quickly realised that the top would be something that I'd wear a lot more than the dress. So a version of the pattern I've made a few times now is just the basic sleeveless shift top. It has a couple of bust darts here, and then it's finished with quite a big facing inside. And then the back is just finished with a keyhole opening, so there are no sort of buttonholes or anything to do. It's a really good beginner pattern, I find. And then I've just used the option of adding the frill sleeves here at the armholes, which I think looks really pretty. And that's the frill pattern actually that I used to add onto my Ogden cami straps. So yeah, it's a well-used pattern, this one. But yeah, just a lovely, simple, basic summer top, that one. This is made from a crinkly crepe fabric, which I think I got from First for Fabrics quite a long while ago now. But it's really pretty, isn't it? It's kind of stripy and floral. Definitely my style, this one. This is just a white version of exactly the same top made from a cotton dobby fabric. And I really like this one. It's really nice to sort of pair with shorts and jeans and things like that. And it looks really nice under a cardigan as well. The only thing you need to watch, I think, with this cotton dobby fabric and the way this pattern is put together is that it does have quite a big low facing. I tend to wear something underneath this, like a vest or something, so you do kind of get a bit of a weird line where you've got the facing going over like that and then you've got these sort of dipped line of your vest there. So I think if I make this again, I'll probably try and bias bind the armholes or the neckline instead. And I think that'll probably give a bit of a better finish. You'd only need to do that obviously if you were using something see-through, just to kind of avoid seeing the facing on the inside when you're wearing something see-through, but in a fabric that's not see-through then the facing is obviously fine. And this is exactly the same pattern, but I've omitted the frill sleeves and I've added a proper sleeve, and I've just cut it at 3/4 length. And this again was one of the first things that I ever made. And because of the fabric that it's made in, I really love it, and I wear this quite a lot even still now, even though it's not overlocked inside or anything like that, because I made this well before I had my overlocker. But I really like this top, and I tend to wear it quite a lot just with jeans or things like that, or trousers. And I just really like the print of it. So one day I'm going to have to actually try to overlock the insides just to get a bit more kind of lasting wear out of it, because it is fraying a little bit on the inside. Next I have a Tilly and the Buttons Mimi blouse, and this is from the Tilly and the Buttons Love at First Stitch book, and it's such a lovely pattern. It's a really kind of vintage style blouse with a flat collar, flat pointed collar that comes into a V at the front. I've used a very busy fabric again with this, so I hope you're going to be able to see the details. It's so pretty. It has a yoke at the back here, and then the back is kind of gathered into the yoke, so it's really lovely and flattering. And then the short sleeve has this really cute little pleat detail at the cuff, which I think is really lovely as well. So this is one of those patterns that I'd seen and admired for quite a long time before I actually gave it a go. And this was one of my Minerva projects, so this fabric was given to me and I've written a blog post all about it. So if you're interested in that, then I'll link it down below as well. It's made in quite a see-through fabric, so you do need to wear something underneath it. But as with all Tilly patterns, it came together really, really lovely, and I really enjoyed making this. I think I gave myself quite a task with this fabric because it is quite kind of see-through and very thin. I think this was one of those fabrics that I'd ordered from Minerva or asked for from Minerva, and when it came it was a lot more see-through and a bit more difficult to work with than I thought it was going to be. But nonetheless, I persevered, and I'm really pleased with how this blouse turned out. It's really pretty, and I love anything with a bit of vintage style to it, or a nod to vintage anyway. And yeah, I'd love to make this again sometime in the future. Next is my Yolanda blouse, and I made this in collaboration with Makerist, and this is one that you may have seen me wearing quite recently in one of my videos. So this is just a really basic blouse. You can make it with long sleeves as well, and it has a really pretty bib or yoke detail there that buttons up as well, and I really like this top. And yeah, I think I'll get lots of wear out of this. This is one I made quite recently, so I haven't worn it that much yet, but I think it's just a really lovely top to pair with jeans or shorts, and it's really cool because it's a bit oversized for summer wear. I made this in an Atelier Brunette viscose, which is really lovely, and it was really good to work with as well. It's quite stable. You can probably tell from this video how much I love Atelier Brunette fabrics. I realise how much I've actually used them for my makes, but they are really nice, and I always really like their prints. So yeah, that's the Yolanda top by Atelier Vicolo 6 patterns, and I got that from Makerist. This one was another collaboration make actually when I worked on something with the pattern pages. So this was a pattern that came free to subscribers with one of their magazine issues, and I made it up for them so that they could include it in their magazine, but then I got to keep the top, which was really nice. So again, another Atelier Brunette crepe this time, but I love this fabric too. It's really drapey and really soft, and it was really nice to work with. And this is just a basic summer top pattern. It's sleeveless, it has a really pretty yoke detail across here, and then the bottom of the top is just gathered in nicely so that it hangs and swishes really nicely. And I think it's one of those tops that can be dressed up or down. So yeah, that's a really nice one to have too. Next, a little collection of Megan Nielsen Sudley tops. So if you know me, you'll know that the Sudley dress and top pattern is another one of my favourites. I have made quite a few versions of the top and a couple of versions of the dress as well. So this is probably my favourite version of the top. This is just a really basic top that I liked a lot more than I was expecting to. So this is the basic sleeveless version of the top, and it has a lovely keyhole neckline which ties up at the neck. I'll pop in a picture so you can see what it looks like when it's tied up and on. But yeah, it has a really pretty keyhole neckline which is bias bound, and then the bias extends into a tie here. and yeah, you can wear it open or you can tie it up obviously. And I've used a really lovely embroidered cotton lawn fabric which I got from Higgs and Higgs, and I've just used the embroidery as the hem of the top, which looks really nice, but it's actually also very quick to make because obviously you're skipping the hemming stage, which is really nice. So yeah, I'm just really pleased with this as a lovely basic cotton summer top that is obviously good again for shorts and jeans and things like that. It's a really lovely delicate kind of cotton lawn fabric. Next, another Sudley top, but I've actually used the Peter Pan collar on this one, if you can see that, again in another very busy fabric. So this is an art gallery rayon fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so buttery and soft, and I really loved working with this. This is probably another one of my favourites actually. I really like how this has turned out. So I've made the basic top and I've cropped it slightly, and I've added a peplum, and I've just used the skirt piece of the Sudley dress pattern to make that peplum, and yeah, I've cropped the top slightly. Can't remember if I cropped the top or if I just used the dress bodice pattern. I think I might have just used the dress bodice pattern actually and added on the peplum. I'll link below the makes video where I go into more detail about this, just in case you are interested, because I can't remember sitting here how I actually made it. Anyway, on this one I've added the collar, pretty Peter Pan collar, and then you've just got the keyhole neckline detail, which you can actually wear at the front or the back of this top. So if you want the tie detail at the front, you can wear it like that, or you can wear it that way round and have the tie at the back, which I think is really nice. I tend to wear this actually with the tie at the back because I find the ties sometimes a little bit annoying when they're hanging around in front of you and getting in the way. I'm a bit funny about things like that, so I tend to wear this with the tie at the back, but obviously that's personal preference. So this is another Sudley top, and I've made a similar version to the one I've just shown you, but I haven't used the collar on this one. So this is just a straight neckline, but again it ties up here. So again you can wear this tie at the back or the front of the top. And this is made from a peach skin fabric, I think, which I got from Minerva, and I have blogged this one as well. So again, you can pop over to my Minerva profile and have a read of that if you're interested. And on this one I've gone for an elbow length sleeve, which I'm considering cutting actually, because it's a little bit of a funny length. So one day I might actually cut this shorter and have another short sleeve top so that it's just a bit more better and easier to wear in the summertime. I really like this as a peplum top. I think it looks really pretty. It's not an option that's actually given on the pattern, but it's obviously a really simple hack to put together, and I really like how that's turned out. Next, guess what? It's another Atelier Brunette fabric top. So this is the Grainline Studio Scout Tee, and this is a pattern that I always look at and think I need to make more of those because they're really good basic t-shirts. I've only ever made one for some reason, but I really do like this when I put it on. So this is just a simple woven t-shirt pattern. It has quite a wide scoop neck and very short cap sleeves, and when you wear it it's actually just quite a nice flattering fit. It's quite cropped, so it comes to about hip length, and it just looks really nice, I think, when you wear it with a pair of jeans or something. So yeah, again, I really must make another one of those. So yeah, this is made from an Atelier Brunette. I think it's a Dobby viscose they call this actually. It's really shiny, a little bit sheer, so you do need to wear something underneath it. And the neck of this is just bias bound. You can use shop bought binding, or you can make your own like I've done here. So that's a really nice pattern as well, and just something really nice to have in your wardrobe or your pattern collection, because it's just a nice basic kind of top that goes with everything. I am getting to the end now, I promise. Next I have two Avid Seamstress the blouses, and these are two that I made ages ago actually. I really wanted to have a go at the Avid Seamstress the blouse pattern because I'd never made a blouse or a shirt before, and it's obviously quite an easy style in the sense that there are no cuffs, the sleeves are elasticated, and it doesn't have a proper collar, it just has a mandarin collar, which is a little bit fiddly to do, but the instructions for this pattern are amazing. They're really detailed, and for a first shirt pattern or first blouse pattern I think it's a really good one to try. So yeah, this button's all the way down to the bottom. It's just a straight blouse. I tuck mine in quite a lot, but obviously you can wear them out as well, and it's just a straight hem. This was made from a pretty turquoise viscose fabric which I got from the Fabric Guys quite a while ago. This was actually my first version of the blouse that I made, and I was inspired to make this by the pattern cover because it's the exact same version as is pictured on the pattern cover. But also I went to the Knitting and Stitching show, and the Avid Seamstress stand had this made up on a model in this exact fabric, and I just kind of fell in love with it and really wanted to make it. So I invested in the proper Atelier Brunette, again, viscose, from Minerva, I think. And yeah, it came together so nicely, and I was so proud of myself when I made this because it was the first blouse that I'd ever made. Yeah, it all came together so nicely and much quicker than I was expecting. As I say, the instructions of that pattern are brilliant. So if you are looking to make your first blouse or have a go at a collar, simple collar or anything like that, I'd highly recommend this pattern. You could obviously shorten the sleeves or lengthen them if you want to. They come to about elbow length, I think, on me when I wear this. It's a really nice pattern. You may have seen this one quite recently. I think I shared it in my most recent video. So this is my hack that I did of the Avid Seamstress, the blouse pattern. And I've added a frilly collar based on the Megan Nielsen Sudley dress pattern, or using the Megan Nielsen Sudley dress pattern, I should say. And I've added a gathered sleeve, which I took from the Friday Pattern Company Davenport dress. So I won't talk too much about how I did this hack because I did talk more about it in my most recent makes video. But that's another lovely top that I've added to my wardrobe for this summer, and I'm really pleased with this one too. I do love this fabric, and I've had quite a lot of comments on this fabric, but I can't find it anywhere. So if anyone knows anywhere that's stocking this red fabric, let me know. I don't think Minerva have got it in anymore. They might have the black colourway, but I don't think they've got the red. But yeah, lovely, lovely fabric and really easy to work with. So I'm quite pleased with how this hack turned out. And on to my last two tops. So this is the Beginner Kimono Tee by So Explicit Patterns. This pattern is a really lovely basic t-shirt pattern. So it has quite a wide scoop neckline again, which is bias bound, and then grown on sleeves, which are also bias bound. And it has a really lovely high-low hem on it, quite a curved hem. On me, this comes up quite long, so I think next time I make this, I'm going to crop it and just see how that turns out. But yeah, a really lovely pattern to make in a really nice drapey viscose, I think. It's really nice for summer. So I won't babble on too much about this top because you probably, if you've watched my recent videos, you may have seen me talking about this already, but that's a really lovely summer pattern too. And this is exactly the same pattern, just made up in a different fabric. So this is a black with red and pink flowers all over it, which I think is really pretty. It's a polyester fabric, so it might be a bit sweaty in the heat. I'm going to see how I go with this one. I've only just recently finished this actually, but it's a really, really nice pattern and a really good one for beginners again. So that is my entire collection of woven handmade tops. Getting them all out like that and having a look through them was really interesting, but it does make me realise how many tops I own. Let me know what you feel about this, because it's something that I sometimes struggle with a little bit. Obviously, a byproduct of having this wonderful hobby of sewing is that you do end up with quite a lot of clothes. And sometimes I struggle with how much stuff or how much clothes I actually have. So let me know how you feel about that and how you deal with it. I'm not someone who likes to have a lot of stuff generally, so it does sometimes bother me how many clothes I have. I don't always necessarily sew to wear the garments that I'm making, if that makes sense. Obviously I do love wearing them, and that's a really good thing that comes of it, but I don't necessarily make things because I want to wear them. I make them because I love making them, and I love pairing patterns to fabric and things like that. Does any of that make sense? Let me know what you think about that. I know there's so much talk at the moment about overconsumption and you know, having too many clothes and buying too many clothes, so it does make me feel a little bit guilty sometimes about how many clothes I own and how many clothes I make. But obviously it's my hobby. So let me know if you feel the same, and let me know how you deal with that or manage that. I only have quite a tiny wardrobe, and I don't like things to be too cluttered, so it's something that I kind of battle with now and again. But I'm never going to stop sewing, so yeah, I just need to find a way of dealing with that really. Anyway, that was a bit of a waffly end to this video. I hope you've enjoyed having a little peek into my handmade wardrobe and seeing all my handmade tops. As I say, I really enjoy videos like this, so I hope it will be enjoyable. I am planning to record another of these videos showing all of my woven dresses, so stay tuned for that if you're interested, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss that video if you want to see it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and if you have enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a like at the end. I'll hopefully be back next week with another video, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. Bye!